silent mode. Remind everybody to silence or...
See how I do it.
Okay.
Okay. Here.
Yes.
On your picture.
Yes.
I just click that button and it comes up with this thing.
Yeah.
I hit rename.
Which row you want me in? Share a support.
Whatever you would like, sir.
Everybody's on camera. That's good. 5 minutes to show you.
Good, Mike. How you doing?
5 minutes to show you. I'm not on any.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Just turn down the
Good evening.
How's everybody doing?
No, hang it in there. Carrie, there's an ice cream peddler going down River Drive.
He was over on Payable too.
He's not supposed to be out there.
So he did not have any kind of license or anything.
Nope. Nope.
Chase him down, Donna. Tell him he's not supposed to be doing that. We'll hold on.
There you go. I'll be right back. Or I'll get an ice cream, one of the two.
There you go.
Quiet. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
I can hear you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can't see you.
You
Oh,
can't?
come on, Donna.
No, you can't see me. I'm hiding.
Did you do your
You
hair?
get that needle as usual, right?
No,
I
I
can see
haven't
you.
done my hair. Not in 2 months.
Harry, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, there we go.
We should have some like intro music playing before things get started.
My guitar next time.
Dude, what kind? Elevator music?
Soothing music.
Star Spangled Banner.
A theme to Jeopardy.
How about we gotta get out of this place?
Alrighty then. Let's see what we got here. It's almost time. Last week I had it set up where there's only like 3 names around the side, or 3 faces on the side.
Baby bears, the dog can't come in.
Yeah. No,
Our band.
because when I did the speaker view, then it's just the one big face of it.
Okay.
Oh, anyway, never mind. I'll make my way through. Alrighty then. Let's see what we got here. It is 7:30. And we'll dismiss that reminder because I am here. All right. Take it that we are ready according to that. All right. Call the meeting of the Lincoln Park City Council of May 4th already to session. We'll ask those that are participating today to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be immediately followed by the invocation by Pastor Zabe Zoltek of Lincoln Park Church of Christ. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure, Mary. Got it?
The invocation now, or?
Pastor, yes, please.
Okay. Let's go to God in prayer. Heavenly Father, I come to you this evening on behalf of our elected officials here in Lincoln Park. Father, I ask that you please guide our leaders in their discussions, their plans, as well as their negotiations. And I just pray that you give them the knowledge, Father, that they need and the wisdom to use that knowledge. Father, we are in unprecedented times with much of the world being affected by this COVID-19 pandemic and virus. And Father, we just pray that you please bless our local officials with the ability to make the right decisions regarding their response to this pandemic for our residents, for our businesses, and our community as a whole. And lastly, Father, we know that there are many in our city that are hurting emotionally, physically, spiritually, as well as financially. And so, Father, I just know that you know their needs, because you're the Father of all creation before we even ask. But we ask, Father, that you send blessings upon each of them as they have need. Father, I thank you for this opportunity to call upon your great and holy name on behalf of the council of the city of the council members here of Lincoln Park. And I just pray, Father God, your blessings on each of them, on their families, and on their jobs, and on their duty to the citizens. And Father, we are thankful for their service. and we are thankful for all that they do for all of us as a community as a whole. We thank you and ask you for all things, Father God, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
My pleasure.
All right, and get this thing situated. If we could have a roll call, please.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Present on the phone.
Higgins,
Here.
Kelsey,
Here.
Parkinson,
I can unmute.
There you go.
Ross,
Okay.
Alcedo,
There.
and Mayor Carnes.
Here. Well, good evening, everyone. Still getting used to this. By the time we get used to it, we're no longer going to be doing it. That's one thing to look at. We were talking about, in memory, with the invocation, we're thinking of those that have passed. Adding to those, if you would keep in your prayers the 18 people in the city of Lincoln Park that have died as a result of COVID-19 or complications, and keep them in mind. One of those 18 is a young lady by the last name of Georgina Velitsko. Now, Georgina was a couple months shy of her 99th birthday, and she ended up passing in the arms of her granddaughter as she was being transported to the hospital in the family car, which is, I mean, there are far worse ways to go than in the arms of a loved one. Each of you may remember Georgina because she is quite famous in her way. She is a person that was Slovakia that had survived the Holocaust. She was here at the council chambers. It'll be a year in June 1st. It's the 50th anniversary of Armistice. Oh, maybe not 50th. It's the 100th anniversary in which we gave her the Treaty of Versailles, in which we gave her a certificate. In our thanks, we had an opportunity to listen to her speak, and it's just sad that she had a very well-rounded, long life, and full of matter of fact, I was shared her story by our city attorney earlier today, and I'll forward it to the council, and maybe make it, if you get permission from the family, make it available on our website for those people that might want to read a little bit more about our residents. But we're sorry to see of her passing. Now there's some, I did mention that there were 18 fatalities due to the COVID-19 virus in the city of Lincoln Park. As of today's notices from Wayne County, the health from Wayne County Health, we have for Lincoln Park, there's 272 confirmed cases of COVID-19. And where this daily chart helps us is that we see that our cases in Lincoln Park are continuing. Of the different communities that are listed here, ranging from Allen Park and then of course through Wyandotte, a lot of their numbers have dropped below 5, and a good portion of them are 0. But Lincoln Park leads the way of all of these different communities of new and continual cases. And this has been the way where Lincoln Park has had a consistent 6% new cases each day as we go through. With us being a densely populated community, little businesses, we live pretty much next door to one another. We're one of the most densely populated areas in the state, and that is contributing a lot to the spread of the virus for us. Now, the emergency operations team have been meeting on checking in on a weekday morning basis at 9 o'clock Monday through Friday, and going through and see what plans, what steps, additional steps we could do to put this in an end. Because our goal is to have a summer. We want the people in Lincoln Park to be able to go out and to enjoy themselves and get back to what Congresswoman Dingell calls our new normal for right now. But to get to that point, we got to get past where we are now, and that is where we have the same percentage of new cases going and going. The recommendation from the EOC, which I agreed with and supported, was to close the parks. To close the entrances to the parks, because quite frankly, people were not obeying the rules that we had in place here for that. And that is to not gather, not to get groups of people together, but there were being games that were being played, folks that were gathering on a nightly basis over there. And yes, it may not be the kids that are getting it, but it's the people that take the virus then home, and then somebody in the house gets it, and then we're having another call. I know that as mayor, I receive a call each time that there is a COVID-related death attributed to a Lincoln Park resident. These are not fun calls to get. They're not, but they're important that we know that these deaths are happening. We don't know the location of that. It's a courtesy call from the county that the results will show that there was a new death related to COVID. There's been some 18 times that this has been spoken about. I don't want to have any more of these calls for that. Folks, what we need to do is to take care of business here. It is very serious. So I understand that you want to be able to go to the park, but let's stay the course through this and get through this and knock our numbers down to where we have a couple of weeks without new cases going in, and then we can start easing and start opening up of things, and maybe in time for summer, but we don't know. But and with that, someplace, I have an update from, and this is from our emergency manager, our fire chief, Steve Martin. And I'm just going to read it for your edification. With social distancing measures and shelter-in-place directive firmly in place, the COVID-19 virus continues to spread, but all indications show that it is slowing slightly. As of this afternoon, the total number of cases in Michigan is 43,754, up from 14,225 just 1 month ago, and 4,049 deaths, up from 540 a month ago. The total in Wayne County, not including Detroit, is 17,298 cases, up from 2,804 last month, and 1,893 deaths, up from 119 last month. In the city of Lincoln Park, there are currently 272 cases, up from 98 last month, with 18 confirmed deaths, up from 5 last month. Although these numbers have increased significantly, they would have been worse had it not been for the drastic measures taken across the country and the state. Many areas show a leveling off of cases, and in some places, even a downward trend. In the city of Lincoln Park, there's been a slight decrease in spread. However, the average new cases per day has consistently remained just over 6 per day for the month. We had hoped that the distancing measures coupled with the wearing of face masks would have led to a downward trend in cases, but that has not been the case. We'd like to remind the citizens that although this has been an unsettling inconvenience, it remains important that we stay vigilant and continue to take precautions. State and local governments will begin strategically opening up parts of the economy while decisions are made how to safely return some semblance of normal. But if there is a rush to return to the way things used to be, there will be surely a second wave that could be more devastating than the first. We ask you keep this in mind as the warm weather returns and the instinct to return to normal kicks in. It is still strongly encouraged that everyone wear face masks when they leave their home for shopping, picking up prescriptions, etc., and continue to limit your exposure to those outside of your household. The City Emergency Management Team continues to work diligently to take appropriate steps to ensure the safety of its citizens and city employees. And I covered that part. giving reports on personal protection equipment that is needed or has been acquired and updates on employee health and safety. We continue to be in constant contact with our local, county, and state representatives for critical updates and to submit feedback and resource requests. Moving forward, we continue to promote the message that to all citizens that it is imperative to take this very seriously, be diligent, but also to remain calm. It is in the best interest of everyone to stay home except when absolutely necessary, practice good hand washing techniques, and if COVID symptoms do develop, only go to the hospital if symptoms become unmanageable. Although this is a very serious virus, the majority of people experience manageable symptoms. Now, there is a testing facility that is close by. Those that are familiar with Sam's Club on North Line Road in Southgate has a testing facility there. You would need to first set up an appointment. We will have the links for those on our website. You set up an appointment and you go in, and it's a drive-through process with very little exposure or damage to you as you can go through that. So we have that part. Next thing is on May 7th, which is just 3 days away from now, and May 21st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Senior Alliance at 5454 Vinoy Road in Wayne, there will be emergency food distribution for seniors. The eligible recipients are those people age 60 and older residing in the Senior Alliance Planning and Service Area, which includes Lincoln Park. Spouses of adults age 60 and older, adults living with a disability residing with an individual age 60 or older, and individuals currently enrolled in the My Choice Medicare Waiver Program. And there is a process for how you go and do that. We will make this available on our website. If you folks are interested to please make an attempt to go on out there for that. We have a couple of things. No, forget that one. That's old. Have on a different topic, we have the Arbor Day Foundation names Lincoln Park Tree City USA. Lincoln Park, Michigan was named a 2019 Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation in honor of its commitment to effective urban forest management. So that is a good thing. As a part of the, I don't know if it's part of the CARES Act, but additional funds were distributed to communities to fight COVID-19 through the Community Development Block Grant Program. Lincoln Park was awarded almost $475,000 with specific guidelines of how it could be used for in preventing COVID-19 and handling things, loans for small businesses, help for food banks and such. The CDBG group led by Doreen has been meeting and preparing recommendations to come to council. We hope to have that very, very soon for all of us to approve or disapprove. And in the end, it will have the significance. Most of it will be in small business loans that'll be out there with assistance to the food bank, and then there will be some requests in there to help us adapt our buildings for when we open up, and different programs we're going to do that. You'll have information coming to council shortly. I think that for the next meeting in 2 weeks we'll be doing it, but it will be some very good news that way. And then lastly, I have, in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, I have the Rail Splitter t-shirt here. We appreciate all the efforts and things that are being done by our Lincoln Park school system, led by Superintendent Terry Dangerfield. They have it to where they're giving in-home instruction, and what has to be a very difficult senior year for the people that are graduating, and they will be graduating. We need to come together as a city and find a way that we can celebrate this and how we can honor all of these kids that graduate. All of us have fond memories of our senior year and all the different activities and things that we were part of, whether it would be the ceremony or getting the diploma or the award assembly, or even senior skip day. These are a lot of things that these kids would not be able to take part in. It's going to be different for them. They don't know if their schools are going to be open, the college of choice where they're going, if that's going to be open that time. It's an unsettling time in which to graduate. Yes, there are people that have lost their lives during this and lost their jobs and having a very difficult time, but these are kids coming out of high school, and what should be a happy, joyous time for them is a little bit uncertain. But the school district as a whole has risen to take care of this problem with the food being distributed and all the educational programs and things reaching out to the kids. But I still think that we need to do something in celebration of that. Whether if we go out and get your normal grocery store things, we paint the city orange and blue. Whether you do it with streamers or maybe orange and blue light or something, we'll come up with something along those lines. But to have their school year cut short right in the it's basically the Ides of March when everything shut down. I think, but from all of us and to those students that may be looking or seeing this later on, our congratulations to all of those. And I have rambled on long enough, so we will move on to the consent agenda. Resolved that the following items listed on the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. 1, approved minutes, regular meeting held April 20, 2020. 2, approved minutes, study session, April 27, 2020, RE fiscal year 2020-21 budget. 3, reappointments. A, Community Improvement Commission, 1. B, Dangerous Building and Code of Appeals Board, 2. C, Historical Commission, 4, 4 people. D, Library Board, 2 people. E, Parks and Recreation Commission, 2 candidates, 2 people, reappointment. F, Planning Commission, 2 reappointments, and G, Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 appointment. And as far as the minutes, they are as corrected for the
Study session.
For the study session. Yeah. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that.
So move.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Okay.
I just would like to say thank you to all the commissioners who have re-upped. They are a great source of wealth of knowledge to our city. We want to thank them for all that they do.
Couldn't do it without them. Okay.
If I could, Councilwoman Ross,
Yes.
just to clarify, the date on that correction should be 7 p.m. for the,
Monday, May 18, 2020 at 7 p.m.
yes.
That's what it's been corrected to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right then, clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Need to unmute. Need to unmute, Tom.
there you go.
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carn.
Yes. games here. First action that we have has a cover letter from Carrie Kerr, our city clerk. Purpose of this request is to remove a commissioner from the Historical Commission. On May 18, 2019, Donald Chernair was reappointed to the Historical Commission. He has not been sworn in, has not attended any meetings since his reappointment. Okay. Whereas the city clerk's office notified Commissioner Donald Chernair on March 18, 2019 of his reappointment to the Historical Commission. Whereas Commissioner Chernair had failed to come to the city clerk's office to accept his appointment and has failed to attend all subsequent meetings, and whereas the qualified voter file now shows that Commissioner Chernair has moved to the city of Detroit and no longer is a resident of Lincoln Park. Therefore, be it resolved that the Historical Commissioner Donald Chernair be and is hereby removed from that board for just cause due to his failure to comply within 10 days after reappointment.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Alcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Connor.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from Doreen Christian, and it has to do, as said in the remarks, a resolution to amend the CDBG Citizen Participation Plan. In information, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities Act, CARES, allotted the city of Lincoln Park $478,730 in supplemental community development block grant funding for grants to prevent, prepare for, and respond to coronavirus. The Act provides that the grantees may amend their citizen participation plans to establish expedited procedures to draft, propose, and amend consolidated plans. Expedited procedures must include notice and reasonable opportunity to comment of no less than 5 days. The 5-day period can run concurrently for comments on the action plan amendment and amended citizen participation plans. In-person public hearings are not required. Grantees may meet public hearing requirements with virtual public hearings if 1, national local health authorities recommend social distancing and limiting public gatherings for public health reasons. 2, virtual hearings provide reasonable notification and access for citizens in accordance with the grantees' certifications, timely response from local officials to all citizens' questions, issues, and public access to all questions and responses. Apparently, we're reading again. Okay. Whereas the city of Lincoln Park was allocated $478,730 in CARE Act CDBG-CV20 funding. And whereas under the CARE Act, the city may shorten the citizens' comment period by amending the citizen participation plan to expedite the expenditure of funds. Therefore, be it resolved that the citizen participation plan be amended by adding a new section. CARES Act CDBG-CV20 funding citizen comments. The grantee city shall provide a period of time not less than 5 days to receive comments from citizens and other interested parties to draft, proposed, or amend annual action plan for submission. The city shall consider the views of citizens, other interested parties so expressed while preparing its annual action plan amendment. The city shall attract a summary of such citizen comments and will so include a written explanation of such comments and whether they were accepted or rejected and why. In-person public hearings are not required. The city may meet public hearing requirements with virtual public hearings if 1, national/local health authorities recommend social distancing and limiting public gatherings for public health reasons. And 2, virtual hearings provide reasonable notification and access for citizens in accordance with the grantee's certifications, timely responses from local officials to all citizens' questions and issues, and public access to all questions and responses. I'll move on this. Discussion? Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Alcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Connor.
Yes. Okay, the next item has a cover letter from John Kazua, Director of Department of Public Services. In background, GV Cement Contracting Company, Brownstown, Michigan, was the City of Lincoln Park cement contractor for the 2019 road reconstruction program. They have offered to extend their contract and unit rates from the 2019 road reconstruction program to the year 2020 road reconstruction program. In the bid, when it was last awarded, a GV Cement Contracting Company had bid $1,793,805.25. The next closest bid was Great Lakes Contracting Solutions at $1,881,873.40. So the resolution is resolved that the mayor and city council hereby extend a 2019 concrete road reconstruction contract with GV Cement Contracting Company, Brownstown, Michigan, for the 2020 concrete road reconstruction at the existing 2019 contractual rates. Further be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize the funds to be taken from roads capital account number 450-000-818-000.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Carrie, did you get the mover and supporter?
I did, thank you.
All right. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, the next action item is, whereas Governor Whitmer's executive stay home, stay safe order number 2020-59 expires on May 15, 2020. Whereas the mayor and city council recognize that there may still be restrictions on the gathering of large groups after the end of the order. Whereas the mayor and city council wish to proceed with an abundance of caution and provide the highest level of protection for the health and safety of our residents, therefore be it resolved that with great sadness, the mayor and city council hereby rescind resolution 2020-098 and cancel the May 17, 2020 Memorial Day Parade.
Support.
Okay. In discussion? That's, as we move forward, there is not, as much as I wanted this to continue on, as we need, at some point we're going to need the time to get together and to celebrate, especially to honor those that have served for us. But it's not going to be able to be done safely at the date that it was scheduled for. So.
Your Honor, through the chair, Councilman Higgins.
Yes, sir.
I am have been with the parade from day one, helped raise money, and it's with great sadness that this can't be done, but the safety of our people must come first. But I also would like to assure everybody that our committee is fully committed to bringing the parade back next year. And I want everybody to know that. And that's really all. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? Okay, clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Breeding,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. On that note, there will be a service of some type at the monument, as we are adding names to the World War II monument and the Vietnam Veteran Monument also. There's additional 4 names and 1 correction that's going to be going on at some point. But I think that is something that we could do virtually for everyone. Okay, moving on to accounts and claims payable. So resolve that accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. The first 2 items to Blue Cross have been check release for due date. Blue Cross Blue Shield, May 2020 retiree Medicare, $35,427.48. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, May 2020 retiree and SB actives, $168,539.75. 25th District Court, May 2020 monthly payment, $49,255.17. GFL Environmental USA Incorporated, April and May 2020 curbside collection and recycling, $347,398 to $347,388.92. Great Lakes Water Authority, March 2020 water billing, $194,653.33. Okay, discussion? Hearing none? Oh, sorry, was there? Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, we've reached the time for our city manager's report. Ms. Copper? Mr. Copper, I'm sorry, Mr. Kuzma?
Well, thank you, Mayor. As you can see, I am not Matt Koppler.
Sorry.
It's okay. So I won't belabor the point too much on the COVID-19. I think the mayor did a really good job illustrating that the city has 272 confirmed cases and 18 deaths. And we do continue to evaluate different ways to effectively try and slow the spread of this disease, including closing the parks. Something else that's been coming up, the police have been noticing an uptick in people, I'd say breaking into cars, but they're not really breaking anything. People are leaving vehicles unlocked, and people are going into vehicles and taking belongings. So please make sure you lock your vehicles. Don't leave any valuable stuff inside your vehicle as well. The city is starting to have conversations as to what operations are going to look like as we begin to do a phased reopening. This includes determining how we're going to flow people through City Hall to eliminate unnecessary contact. When we do eventually reopen, City Hall will likely be set up with one way in and one way out, trying to make sure the flow goes one way through the building. The first phase is going to have extreme limits on the number of people that can be in the building at any one time as well. On the phased reopening, over the last 6 weeks, we've been strictly following the governor's stay-at-home order, and we have been neglecting a lot of the routine maintenance that DPS would traditionally be doing. Today, DPS is slowly beginning to resume some of their operations. They'll be operating at approximately 50% of their staff and are going to rotate the shifts each week. Last city council meeting, there were a couple questions regarding the new janitorial services. I was asked about their municipal experience. After reviewing their references, they have mostly specialized in private companies, but they did have some small municipal experience. We will likely be their largest municipal contract to start. I was also asked to make sure that there was a provision in the contract that allowed for termination of the contract with proper notice. As we've drafted the contract, we've made sure to note that this provision would be in there. With that, I will take questions, but I do want to make note about public comment tonight. I do see there's a couple people on the call. When the mayor opens up public comment tonight, I will unmute everybody, and then just please say your name so that you can be recognized by the mayor for public comment. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Yeah.
Chair.
Sorry.
Mr. Parkinson, go ahead.
I was reading through my packets that I got a few weeks ago. Dorian has got in there for 88 door compliance for the band shell and for the community center. You think we'd ever add that to City Hall? Those doors are awfully hard to open for me. And I'm sure anybody else is handicapped.
Could definitely look into it.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Sorry.
Councilman Ross, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was just curious if we were going to extend the deadline for the dog licenses.
We actually were talking about that today and potentially waiving late fees. We'll likely bring something back to council for approval.
Okay. And then just real quick, if you could please add that budget public hearing to the website calendar.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
This is Councilman Higgins. We missed 2 study sessions. I want to know when we're going to be able to reschedule them.
You're talking about both the building department and the marijuana?
Correct.
Building department, I think, is one we could probably start getting back on the calendar. I would rather not do the marijuana one until we can do it in person, unless there's a strong objection to that by mayor and council.
Could we at least get any information that you've gotten so we have something that we know what's going on?
Absolutely. Well, quick update. We've reviewed a first draft of an ordinance. Found a lot of things that needed some kind of tweaking in. I believe right now it's in the hands of the contracted attorney to clean up some of the language. When we get the next draft back, we'll get it out to you.
Okay, and I'd also like to know when we can get an update about what the court building situation.
Yep, absolutely. I believe there's supposed to be a meeting scheduled for May, and I'll keep you updated when I get new information.
Thank you.
James, the marijuana meeting or process, people have been waiting for a while. So as soon as that next draft comes in, if we can get it to us, and the first opportunity to have this scheduled to move forward, we need to do that.
Absolutely.
Through the chair, if I might, I got a couple
Yes,
questions for the city manager. I know you talked about it in the email, but the fire contract, doesn't that expire June? We're getting kind of close to that.
Fire contract does, yes.
Going to be extended, or are we going to see about extending it? Because we're already into May, and I know we haven't had any discussion with our goals or heard anything about what they're looking for. And we usually have that as a closed session, before we get down the road on that.
Yes. Unfortunately, due to the current circumstances, holding a closed session is extremely difficult. But conversations have begun with the fire unit. We have officially received a proposal, and we're trying to figure out the best way to prepare information for you guys.
Okay, I just know it's getting close, and I know if you don't know, the last one took 2 years to actually finish, and I think that was unacceptable. So that's why I'm asking.
Right, and it is our goal to try and wrap this up.
Okay. The other question I had is, there's been a lot of comments about enforcement of the governor's order about barbecues, parties, and I know we closed the parks obviously because of that. Are we able to enforce some of those provisions, or because of limited issues, other like break-ins and cars racing around? Are we able to are we just going to give them a warning? Or are we staying away from that right now because of the fact that we're just trying to get through some of these issues, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, without speaking for the chief on that, and I can get you more direct information, I would suspect that they have been issuing warnings. I do know they've issued a couple of tickets, but I can get more information for you.
I do know that I talked to the chief this morning, and they are responding to complaints. Of course, they'd like everybody to do voluntary compliance, and the people that they have spoken to have understood and have have agreed to do that, so they haven't had to issue in those circumstances.
That was my comment. I was just wondering where that's going. My last comment is the fact about the same thing. Because the weather is nice, you got a lot of people that are racing their cars, for lack of a better word, taking their classic cars out and kind of blowing out the exhaust, and a lot of little mini bikes running around. And I guess what I'm saying is that, you know, have we been kind of like looking for those things to, you know, because everybody's basically trying to shelter place. So you have a lot of kids around the neighborhoods, and if you got these people doing what I'm talking about, obviously you got the tendency of having a problem someplace. Somebody on a mini bike driving on the main or side street is not actually, I think, a licensed driver, and that's kind of little. And then somebody, again, the speed limit is 25. When you're doing, you know, trying to get your car up to 50 before you hit the stop sign, it's a little bit more difficult to get out of the way. So I'm just, you know, and again, that goes to my first question, which the mayor answered about the issue about the ticket. Are they looking more at that now, because that is happening now because the weather is nicer?
I'll add that to my request for information to the chief.
All right. Because I personally have seen a mini bike around my neighborhood, and I wasn't too concerned because usually the cops patrol, but I was just curious. So thank you. That's all I got, Your Honor.
Okay. We good to move on? Apparently so. Then we will open it up to citizen comments at this point.
And Mayor, I have unmuted everybody.
Okay. Well, hearing no one going forward, then I will open it up to oral reports of the mayor and council. Council President Breeding.
First of all, I want to thank all of the commissioners that agreed to serve for the next few years on these commissions. We really, as the mayor has said, we could not function without them, and I really appreciate the fact that they come forward and they continue to do the work that's assigned to them, and I want to thank them again. The Memorial Day Parade, it is heartbreaking that it finally got up and running again, but I perfectly understand by looking at all of the reports on TV and everything else where people are just not adhering to any of the 6 foot or the mask or whatever. It would be very dangerous for us to have that. So I hate that we aren't going to, but next year will be here before we know it. So, and other than that, I think that's all that I have tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Councilman Salcido.
Yes, well, hello, citizens of Lincoln Park. I would like to also, I had this in my notes, thank the residents of Lincoln Park for stepping up and being reappointed to the respective commissions and boards. Thank you for being involved with the city. In regards to the seniors of Lincoln Park, as a Lincoln Park graduate myself, you know, it'd be nice if we could maybe sometime in June, I know I graduated June 13th, maybe have people parked in their cars on 4th Street, block it off, and have the seniors walk down 4th Street and maybe honk our horns at them. You know, hopefully in June things will be opened up a little bit, but I do believe we'd like to recognize our seniors of Lincoln Park. And with that, be safe, everybody, and that's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Ross.
Thank you, Your Honor. I too just want to say congratulations and thank you to all of our reappointed commissioners and board members. And I'd also like to say Happy Mother's Day to all of our moms and all the mothers out there. And that's it, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Higgins.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to everybody ahead of time. I'd like to remind everybody that the schools have their free lunches and breakfast for all school-age kids, 5 through 18, at the high school, and they are there from 11 to 1. And I'd also like to thank the police department, who have been doing a spectacular job doing traffic control every week over there. The crowds are, the word, I don't know what the word is, because I don't want to say amazing that the crowd is that big because of the reason it's there, but it's overwhelming that the size of the crowd. and the police are doing a spectacular job of keeping traffic flow going. And of course, I want to thank the lunch women who are putting this together and getting it out for the kids, without which this couldn't happen. I want to thank, once again, I want to thank all the commissioners and that have been reappointed. And I know that we have quite a few open seats still on some commissions. And if anybody out there would like to participate, please step forward. Our city cannot run without our commissions. They are a very vital part of ourselves. And lastly, I'd like to remind everybody, fill out your census. The census is what gets our city our money from the federal government. Without that census, we don't get anything. Please fill out your census. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Kelsey?
Yes, I would just say the same on the commissioners that got reappointed. I appreciate the fact that they stood up again and got reappointed. Volunteers, we have talked about that in the past, that we can't get enough volunteers for commissions and different things. And I think Lincoln Park has been pretty fortunate with the people that not only go on commissions, but they stay year after year or 3 or 4 years, depending on their reappointment, and they go up and they go again, which is really amazing. Mother's Day, it's coming up. Things sneak up on you when you're retired and at home, and there's no, you can't get out of the house before you know it. And Lillian, thank you for reminding me of that. I was in deep trouble for that one. And I'd like to say that thank you. I think the Citizen Patrol Watch was called out to also help patrol the parks. I want to thank those volunteers. As again, we talk about volunteers that step up and help out the police department. And lastly, to all the first responders and everybody, garbage people, mail people, cops, firemen, DPS, everybody that's grocery people that is doing everything to try to make a normal life out of an abnormal situation. I want to say thank you, and that's all I got, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Parkinson?
Everybody stole everything I was going to say, so I'd really like to echo a few other people in the commissions. We have some very dedicated commissioners, been for years. I'm sure we have quite a few vacancies left. I don't know exactly how many, but anybody out there would like to be on the commission in Lincoln Park, call and see what kind of commissions are open. The parade, I'm very sad to see the parade's not going to be this year. I rather enjoy it. I've driven until it float for the last 4 years. And to echo the mini bikes Larry Kelsey was talking about, I have a couple in my neighborhood that keep running around. I did read that they told one at London and 4th Street the other day, Larry. So they are getting out there and doing that. Mother's Day, I wish everybody happy Mother's Day. I wish mine was still here. And that's about it for tonight. Oh, and I want to be kept up with the marijuana pretty well. So if James could, I would like to get more information on the marijuana.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're heading into Memorial Day weekend here. We're going to meet again before that. But if you want to show your support for those that have served, or you want to show the support for the fire department, the police department, the workers that are out there, a simple thing that I would suggest is fly your flag. Get your United States flag out there, put it up. You don't see a lot of them around as much as you may have after, say, when the towers went down. We're in the midst of a crisis here, folks, and we had some division between our politicians before, and some of that's being worked through, and some of it's not. But in the end, we have to show support for our country and those that work to make us what we are, and those that are serving, protecting us 24/7. So if you think about it, get yourself a little flag when you're out there on your shopping trip, or get the one from the closet, and make sure that you fly it properly, and fly it proudly. Very good. The students that are graduating, I understand that the high school is putting together a slideshow in reference to this. I think that we would make it available at some point so that we could all celebrate everyone that is going through there. Lastly, many of us have been touched by people that have passed due to this virus. So I'm asking you to please be a little bit patient with the parks that are being closed, and some of the services may not be as fast as they were before. As a whole, the mayor and council and everyone working in the city is doing their best to keep providing all the services necessary for that you require as life goes on. But it's a very difficult, scary situation. We have great workers, as has been mentioned by all the council here during their comments. Our fire department, police department, DPS workers, all the clerical people that come in here, and the leaders of the buildings here are doing a great job for us. It's a little bit different. It's something that we will all tell our grandkids about when we get through that, and we will get through it. But it's going to just take us a little bit of time to do it safely. So please be mindful of that. Be safe. Don't put yourself at risk, and don't put other people at risk. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Salcido,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Good night, everyone.